All right, go ahead and roll for perception.
I got a 13.
Hey, that's pretty good. With that, you can tell there's some fantasy situations going on. You hear some adult language, and with that, you can tell this podcast probably isn't for kids. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from chill chieftains to choice chulls. And today, we're talking about Goliaths.
All right.
Prepare yourselves. I cast Fireball. The Dungeoncast.
All right, Brian. Today we're talking about Goliaths.
Are we?
Yes, we are. They're the largest playable race as of right now, and they're almost always the largest playable race that is still considered the size medium in any edition. They're really big.
So I immediately thought of the robotic shit that the humans get in StarCraft. It's like a big robot. Like, have you seen The Matrix?
Or like the Space Marines? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Space Marines. They have these things called Goliaths. That
yeah. I know the unit you're talking about. No,
so not so far off
no,
as far as size. They're not robotic,
They're
right?
not that big either. I don't think they're that big. Those things are pretty big, right? The Goliaths?
I would figure there would be... No.
Okay, well,
I mean,
Goliaths are 7 to 8 feet tall and roughly 300 to 400 pounds usually.
Okay.
They're really, really big, really well muscled. They tend to have like gray or brown skin with darker patches that line their body.
Yes.
Sometimes these patches are inconsequential. Sometimes the Goliaths consider them to be divine or holy magic that kind of like discerns their fate. And because of that, Goliaths don't get tattoos.
Oh.
They are very tough-skinned people, and they have prominent bony growths called lithoderms or lithoderms that kind of look like pebbles. Like they're almost pebbles that, like on their elbows or like on their chest or where on their head or
little
whatever.
like hard raises in their skin.
Yeah, they're generally bald usually, but sometimes they have hair. So.
Yeah, I've seen Bard's drawn, or not. I'm sorry, not Bard's.
That was last episode.
That was
Brian.
last episode. Goliaths, because I was like, oh, we did a Bard episode. Now we're doing a Goliath episode. And I totally forgot to mention Scanlan the Bard from Critical Role.
Yeah, what about him?
And his buddy Grog, the Goliath.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why we did these episodes back to back. Sure.
They're always palling around, and I just saw artwork of Grog, the Goliath, with like a nice goatee or something.
We
like
to talk about a show we don't watch a lot on this show.
They dropped it as a podcast, and I've started listening to it.
Oh shit! No shit, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I might check it out.
Yeah, they've got like the first 10 episodes. They were like way back in the day. They have a Dragonborn character with them that's no longer on the show.
Oh yeah, Tiberius.
Yeah, he's a lot. He's like a lot to deal with.
Is he?
Like mentally, like listening to the show, he's probably my least favorite part. Yeah.
Oh, really? I remember the first few episodes. I thought he was really cool.
He probably it's for some people and not for others, and I don't think it's for me.
Okay.
Because his character is like a huffy know-it-all that like also like takes things too literally and like can cause problems roleplay wise, like for the party, like
interesting,
like it's very like brash. Like unreasonably so in some scenarios. I don't know, that kind of irked me a little bit, but I digress.
Back to Goliaths.
Yeah.
So Goliaths, one of the main things about them is that they live. They're really tied to a terrain specifically. They're mountain people, very, very high mountain people, and that is going to inform a lot of their culture that is in the lore. They're a tribal society, usually traveling in tribes of like 30 to 40.
Okay.
You never see an old Goliath. There's a reason for that. And we'll get to it. We'll slowly make our way to that. But there's a prominent reason why you never see old Goliaths.
I think I might know what it is too, but we'll get there.
All right. Well, one of the main things about Goliaths, they are a very athletic and very competitive race.
Yes, the competition was what I was thinking.
Competition is hot for Goliaths. They love it. They revel in it. And it permeates through basically everything they do in life. They're always trying to better themselves.
Kind of like Genasi, how when we talked about that, they're always trying to push the envelope.
Yeah, and there is a likeness there, but Goliaths, it's a problem with Goliaths.
Yeah.
The problem with Goliaths is they're always trying to one-up themselves, and eventually you're un-one-upable. Like,
okay.
And it gets them killed a lot because they're risk takers. They're constantly trying to kill a bigger beast.
I see.
Do a more risky jump. Do a faster climb, and it almost always gets them killed eventually, which is one of the main reasons why you never see an older Goliath. There are other reasons. When I say athlete, though, I really do mean athlete. Sports are a big thing for Goliath. They like games of jumping and hunting and fighting. They like games of literal sports. Like, I think I saw... I was reading through a wiki on Goliath sports, and they have a game called... goat skin ball or whatever.
Oh shit!
And so I'm reading the rules, and it's
cool.
It's a dodgeball. It's
Hell
dodgeball.
Yeah.
They play dodgeball, and like that's awesome. And I certainly wouldn't want to be hit by a fucking dodgeball thrown by a Goliath.
Hell no, especially if it's made of goat skin.
Yeah,
like what's the inside? Fucking a rock or something.
No, they stuff. I think they. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, they're really into sports. They're really into athleticism, and they're really into bettering themselves all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
They're super about being daring and taking risks.
Yeah.
Because I think
I'm gonna climb this fucking cliff.
Yeah.
It's treacherous as fuck, and watch me do this right now.
Right. Well,
And I'm
I think,
oh shit.
I think a big part of it is that because of the nature of the place they live, in order to survive, they have to take huge risks to get the resources they need.
Yeah.
So like it's really highly encouraged. It also gets a lot of them killed.
Yeah, you're like physically like just with no wings, living where birds probably would live, right?
Yeah.
High up in the
high up, yeah. And they actually get features that really highlight where they're from,
right?
Which we'll get into. They are super about talent. They're super about dedication. They have a certain sense of honor and duty. They're kind of a lawful race almost.
Okay.
But they really honor things like effort. Effort means a lot. Like even if they fail, even though they don't like failing and they don't like seeing others fail, like effort counts a lot to them. They also have this innate strong sense of fairness when it comes to competition.
Yeah, because you don't want to cheat to win. That would take the spirit out of it.
They're not. Yeah, they don't honor cheating. They're not into tricks or magic or any of that shit. It's just about like prowess.
Yeah,
you doing
get out
it.
there
Yeah.
and do it.
Yeah, just get out there. Yeah, and they definitely have a huge amount of trust with each other and honor. Like,
okay,
it's kind of a thing with them. That being said, they are not a fucking nice people. They are very kind of brutal in a lot of ways. They're very brutal, and if a adult Goliath cannot carry their weight, if they like can't fight, if they're injured for too long, if they grow too sick, if they get too old, they leave them behind. Not just leave, they exile them. Like, no, not only are we walking away from you, we're not allowing you to walk after us. We'll kill you.
Yeah.
Like, and a Goliath on their own, even like a very skilled one, is not likely to survive because they have really fucked up environment they decide to live in.
Yeah, they would have to, if they were exiled, to leave, right? They would have to get out of there quick. Like
They
maybe
just they have to separate themselves from the tribe.
take the adventurer's path. Maybe.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I think that's going to be a big one for a lot of Goliath players.
Yeah.
Like, they were exiled for whatever.
Because I had a bad run for a couple months, but I'm actually a badass.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think, well, since we're talking about Critical Role, I think Grog was exiled or whatever, and he was injured to almost to the point of death.
Yeah,
and
what's-her-face saved him.
A cleric happened upon him and healed him, and that's why he survived, and then he left.
Yeah.
So, I think you're going to see a lot of stuff like that. Let's talk about the origin of Goliaths, because it's a little muddled, and there's basically two different versions. Goliaths are often related to giants in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, cool. They are huge.
They are really big, yeah, although giants are way bigger. But it's often said that giants are a product of, or Goliaths are a product of giant fornication. Honestly, I don't see how the biology of that works out. But Hagrid is a thing in Harry Potter. So Hagrid's a Goliath. He's a Goliath wizard.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm coming to this realization right now.
Oh, fuck.
Goliaths are almost considered like quarter giants or half giants or something like that. Or just having giants in their ancestry.
Giant blood.
Yeah, giant blood in their ancestry.
Not like the size of the blood.
No.
Right. Okay. Just
yeah.
wanted to...
Just hereditarily giant in origin blood.
Those giant hemoglobins.
The other origin I see is sometimes it's said that they were created by gods that were beseeched by men and climbed up in the mountains for a greater form and so they were bestowed upon the form of Goliaths.
Okay, cool.
So there they are. Either way, Goliaths do have some sort of relationship with giants because giants share the same ecosystem.
Okay.
And so usually it almost all the time it's a hostile environment.
Oh, I was going to ask what happens when they meet
giants.
up.
Yeah, they do not like each other.
I'm sure it's a numbers thing. Like there must be more Goliaths.
There's way
than
more
giants.
Goliaths than giants. I mean, honestly, how many giants can an ecosystem support? Like they're fucking huge.
That's fair.
The real life answer is none because that's the way physics and biology works. But this is a magical world, so a few. Anyways, and often that hostility is really warranted, not just because they're warring and vying for territory, but oftentimes there is a certain amount of history of the Goliaths being a slave race to the giants.
Oh shit!
There's a lot of that in D&D where like a race was a slave race, but they're liberated, and now there's like this 1,000-year animosity.
Dragonborn, Genasi, now Goliaths.
Yeah, Goliaths, dwarves. Actually, we didn't talk about it in the dwarves episode.
Fuck,
dwarves have a huge thing against giants too, which is a big part of why dwarves and Goliaths get along really well.
Oh, nice.
They're both very lawful. They're both very stubborn. They're really a lot alike.
And like very neutral in nature, I feel like.
They're very lawful, neutral in nature usually, although dwarves tend on the lawful good side of things.
Yeah.
But they cherish a lot of the same things. They cherish competitiveness. They cherish athleticism and strength. They're both very like stubborn, and honor and trust mean a lot to both races.
Okay.
They both live in the mountains and they both hate giants. So like, yeah, they get along quite a bit. As a matter of fact, Goliaths, most of their trade is going to be with dwarves because they're in close proximity and they love dwarven weapons because Goliaths are not as skilled. And I kind of want to talk about that. Goliaths are not as skilled at a lot of things, and it's because of their society. They live in a society where no one has any age experience. No one has any wisdom of years lived. Like society like that basically has no chance to flourish because it can't learn from past generations. It's in this constant state of being young, and not knowing. Like, as a matter of fact, Goliaths have an interesting relationship with elves. They think elves creep them the fuck out because the idea they live for so long, and the idea that there is a being that can live long enough to know its great grandparents freaks them out. They don't even know their grandparents. Like they never meet their grandparents because their grandparents
it's already over.
Yeah, exactly. So they live in this almost like self deprecating cycle, if you will.
Yeah,
they've
crippled themselves by not being able to pass information down efficiently.
I would gather to say the Goliaths are probably pretty happy with their lot in life, but at the same time, like that happiness probably only lasts to the point where they're exiled, and it's just like, fuck, I'm 40 and 45 and I got injured.
And I never knew my grandmom.
Yeah, I never knew my grandmom, and I don't know why he would say that specifically. But and now you're exiled.
To like this existential point.
Yeah, it's just like maybe the way they're doing it is wrong, but like whatever. That's their culture.
Yep.
That's Goliaths.
They'll never be able to pass that wisdom on. They've just been exiled.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So there's no elderly, and kind of society kind of suffers for that fact. But they do like trading with races, and generally, like they are friendly. I don't want to say that they're not friendly, because they're friendly to outsiders. They're open to trade as long as there's a trust. If you break that trust, that's it. It's over.
Right.
But like they are cruel in as much as like they really do exile people for like trivial cases. They don't care for each other like that. If you can't carry your weight, it's over.
Only the best.
Only the best. And they certainly do love the best.
Okay.
And I love the best short rests. So let's take one.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the part of the episode where we're resting. And we also stopped talking about that last thing. I forgot what it was. But we're going to talk about we're talking about you guys right now. Thank you guys. You've been watching the show and you got here, and I'm into that shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm a fan.
Thank you very much. It humbles me to see all the people coming in to listen and giving us that constructive feedback and everything. It really means a lot, and thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you guys rock. And if you guys have any questions for us, and again, like Brian was saying about constructive feedback, if you have any of it, feel free to send it to us via our Twitter, You can reach out to us on Facebook. You can email us at thedungeoncast@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear or see from us.
We're about making this show better.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know how we can make the show better for you.
Indeed. So I think next episode we're announcing the winner of that contest you were running, Will, about the Hero Forge minis.
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
By the time this episode airs, it'll be like 2 weeks from that time.
Yeah,
and
so
Twitter will be well informed.
So watch that Twitter. You can find the Twitter at the Dungeoncast. That's where all our stuff is. We're on SoundCloud.com/the Dungeoncast. We're on YouTube. Search Dungeoncast. We'll come up. Get us on Stitcher. Get us on Podcast Addict. If you're on iTunes, please leave us a like and subscribe. That really helps the show. But nothing helps the show more, Will, than tweeting about it to your friends. Or
not just tweeting about it, just word of mouth.
Just talking about it at all, yeah.
Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Anyone who's interested in D&D.
Yeah. If you think the show will help them, and it helps me do my D&D stuff as a dungeon master and a player, please let somebody know if you think they'll like it. That would really help us out, and hopefully we can help them out. And I'm out of stuff. I feel good, like I rested or something.
Oh yeah, I definitely rolled those hit die.
Yeah, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Hey.
We were talking about Goliaths. Yeah, Will, I wanted to tell you about a Goliath I made. His name was Gregor, and he was, I don't know if he was exiled or not. The origins of Gregor are mysterious, but maybe I'll flesh them out right now. Where he ended up, though.
I got something to say on that, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Where he ended up, though, was very interesting to me. He ended up as a Coliseum fighter, and he was a champion fighter, and he was really, really good at what he did.
Oh, yeah.
He loved going out, slaying a monster, and said, "Bring me get the bigger thing out here." Like that wasn't good enough. Get the bigger thing out here. Like really embracing that, like not just competitive nature with like other gladiators or things like that, but competitive versus like my ghost, myself. Like you know how in Mario Kart you can race your ghost after you do a lap.
That's what he was doing.
Gregor was constantly like, I'm gonna be a better fighter next fight. Like I use that technique, I can do it better and would.
That's
and
cool. I like that.
Yeah, as he it would make sense because you're leveling up in D&D, and like it would get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, had that hot 17 in the strength. Yes,
it's very nice.
Was gonna definitely take the stat boost.
It's actually interesting that you chose for him to be a gladiator because so we talked a little bit about like Goliaths and trust, and like they're pretty open to traders and outsiders. And we talked a little bit about how like if you break that trust, you're fucked. Well, one of the things that Goliaths do have to worry about is there are individuals out there who find Goliath tribes and kidnap young Goliaths in order to make them into slave fighters in gladiator rings.
He was being trapped there.
Yeah, so it's funny that that's what you came up with independently because that is a thing. Like that's a thing in D&D
for
lore.
sure. And that's weird because I went through the player's handbook on this one and was like, okay, like cool, I'm gonna do this because they're inherently like very like
they're very buff.
This is a good environment for them, which makes sense that they would get kidnapped to be in that environment. Yep. Yeah, so and they're very buff.
There it is.
Rolling those crits on the 19.
Oh yeah, well, that's a fighter thing though.
Yeah, he was a champion fighter. Like so, that's the closest thing I can get to like a gladiator. I think.
Yeah. I think.
Or unless a barbarian would probably make a good gladiator. I think
there's a gladiator background. It's not gladiator. It's shoot. It might be under soldier. Or no, it's under entertainer actually.
What?
You take the entertainer background, but there's a gladiator.
Oh shit! I guess you are an entertainer.
Yeah. There's a gladiator alternate background you can take.
That's
it's
fucking
in the PHP.
Dope.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Sick. Check that.
So Goliaths and religion, they're not very religious.
No, they're probably not clerics.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
What about druids?
Druids, yeah, you see that sometimes. The shaman class doesn't exist in 5e. And not that it has to for there
like
to be
witch
shamans.
doctor, shaman.
Yeah, like witch doctors, shamans, like those that speak with the spirits of nature. They're very, very nature. They're very in tune with nature.
Yeah, I mean they're living in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, as for they're very into primal forces.
Okay.
They might worship the mountain they live on or something like that.
Hell yeah.
And being D&D, the mountain they live on might be fucking sentient. Like, who fucking knows?
The mountain provides.
Yeah. The islands of Moana are sentient, so there it is.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, so let's talk about the mechanics. Unless Do you have any more questions about Goliaths?
Not right now. Maybe we'll get there.
Okay. So Goliaths are going to get that +2 to strength and that +1 to con. I actually feel like they should get +2 and +2, but that's just me.
Okay.
They get +2 to strength, +1 to con. This reflects, again, their toughness, their endurance, their strength. It's just
maybe they're maybe the con.
physical.
Yeah, maybe the con isn't a +2 because of their lifespan.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to do with like their longevity, because they live as long as humans do. It's
that's fair. Yeah.
If anything, your constitution is through the
pretty
fucking
good.
roof.
Yeah.
You're automatically proficient in athletics, which makes sense. You get a really cool ability called Stone's Endurance, in which you can like reduce damage.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I think it's once a short rest, and I think it's like a D12 plus your con mod or something.
Sweet.
Which again, having that +2 to con would be pretty cool for that nice.
Maybe
ability.
they're trying to like. Maybe we want to give it a 1.5, and that was a good way to do it.
Yeah, so the reason I think they should get that +2 to Constitution is because outside of Stone's Endurance, the rest of their stuff is super situational.
Okay.
And like, I think their features are weak enough to warrant the +2 to con not being overpowered. Personally, that's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
I could be mechanically wrong on this. Maybe the math doesn't add up.
I mean,
But-
I love more.
Yeah, I mean, we all do. But, power creep is a thing, and I know that Wizards has to worry about that. So, like, they tend to err on the side of weaker, and that's fine. Like, it's more, the role play is way more important anyways.
I always forget, like, you're in a party, like.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do it all. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, somebody's going to compensate for the weakness in some way. So,
Yeah.
Get creative. You'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Being the Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the D&D world that they get a powerful build feature, meaning that they count as large for any carrying or lifting.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, when they hit the gym, they're looking good.
Fuck yes.
They're mountain born, which makes it so they're automatically acclimated to any elevation above 20,000 feet. Ooh. And cold weather, extreme cold weather, they're good. They're good. So no saving throws on it.
Still bare chested.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all they get, which again is why I think they should get that +2 to con. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty narrow, and yeah, you're right, situational.
Yeah.
Like you're not always going to be in the mountains in your D&D campaign. But
No.
what's a good pairing? Like I know fighter is really good.
Class wise.
Yeah, like maybe you want to compensate in that way with like a background or something like that.
Okay, so I think the most common and the one that makes like the most like intuitive sense for Goliath is barbarian. Like
Okay.
they are barbarians as it is, because remember
As a culture,
yeah, we talked about in the barbarian episode that athleticism and natural instincts are like the two defining things about the barbarian, and they're also the two defining things about the Goliath. They go hand in hand.
so strength, wisdom.
Not strength, wisdom, but strength and instincts. Although instincts are tied to wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
like the barbarian doesn't have anything that needs wisdom. It's just that the barbarians aren't unwise. And I would say the same with Goliaths. Like Goliaths aren't necessarily unwise usually.
So it makes sense if you're gonna like choose a proficiency to pick like nature.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. Yeah, and because of that, because like we're going with, like they have shamans and whatnot. Like a druid, Goliath makes a fair amount of sense.
It's good survivor.
Yeah.
The
stats
the mountain.
the stats don't really like complement it too much. But although the druid is a very tanky class, especially if you go like the path of the moon or the circle of the moon route, and that Stone's Endurance is just going to help with that tankiness.
I've seen some stuff where people like they're like, I love running like or rolling in this case, like a character that like the stats don't necessarily complement the features that are built in.
They like to go super opposite. I kind of like that too. Like I haven't really done it too often, but like I like the halfling barbarian. I think that's hilarious.
I think we like they sharpen their teeth or something like that.
It's like, oh shit!
It's so tiny, but I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's so it's scarier to me. Like I don't know, it's just scary.
I'm definitely gonna do some experimenting with like picking something that kind of doesn't make sense for the stats, because I've been going with like, oh, what like I like what kind of stats are like I should put my stats into stuff that complements this. I'm gonna like be this like archetype basically.
Right.
Okay.
And in 5e, what's nice is you can go completely against the grain, and it's totally viable. Like a Goliath rogue, it makes no fucking sense. That's a really tough one for me. But like
you got to figure it out.
Yeah,
though.
you do it. Goliath monk would be cool. That'd be scary, dude. That fucking buff-ass
I can't wait to
dude
talk
doing
about the monk.
Crazy. Oh yeah, the monk will be a fun episode. I've
giant fucking monk.
I've seen Goliath wizards. I've seen that. It's a thing.
It's almost like half orc wizard.
Honestly,
that's
to
weird.
me, it's almost weirder because like you consider Goliath society, at least half orcs have like the commonness to be raised amongst humans or something like that.
Yeah, like they have access to like magic tomes, maybe. Like whereas Goliath culture doesn't really believe in like. Do they like to like I imagine like the generational pass on? They're not gonna have books.
No,
they're not really like doing that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like you'll have to really jump through some hoops to get your Goliath in a nice roleplay situation. But I kind of like this. Honestly, this idea happened to me about like 10 seconds ago. But what if there was a Goliath who was like, kind of like a runt Goliath? So he's like really small. He's gonna be a super small line for Goliath.
Well, like 5 foot.
Yeah, and maybe like. By the time he's full grown, he's only 6 feet tall. That's tiny for a Goliath. Yeah. And real skinny. And like the only reason he survived this long is because his mother refused to let him be left behind or some shit like that. He also had a unproportionately sized large dome.
Oh, his head was huge?
Yeah, because
like
he had an
size?
unproportionately sized brain. So he was like this genius Goliath amongst the tribe. And so like they actually started to tolerate him because like he would think of better ways for them to do things and like come up with like contraptions and whatnot.
Oh shit.
And then he started to learn magic, and maybe he met like a trader. And the trader saw like this weird shit going on, and he bought a book from this trader, and it ended up being a book teaching magic. So he becomes like a level 1 wizard.
That's fucking tight.
And then he leaves. So he's like this skinny. He's Megamind. He looks like Megamind. So yeah, Megamind the Goliath. There you go.
Oh fuck,
Character concept.
That's really
done.
good, actually. I like that.
That's cool.
Megamind.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay,
So
there's
your example.
There's a way.
Yeah, there's always a way.
There's a way in 5e.
Yeah,
Do
5e.
it.
5e makes it possible.
Oh my god.
All you have to do is believe.
Like literally with what you came up with right now, you could like cut paste like he ran into like a thieves guild that was like out on a mission and like bought a book about thieves can or whatever, or like how to set traps, and like went off to be a rogue.
Yeah, that if anything, that one makes more sense because I feel like the Goliaths would be more tolerant of someone who was able to like make traps and stuff for them,
and sneak around,
versus like the weird brainy kid that just says shit they don't understand. But anyways, I think we're done on Goliaths. Do you have any other questions?
Oh my god!
I guess there's one last thing. There's an unearthed arcana that features a stone sorcerer, and it's a really cool unearthed arcana. I was looking at it, and it really complements races like dwarves or Goliaths, using Constitution and actually getting into the fraying and like almost being like a melee sorcerer,
like making them like a hit sponge.
It definitely makes it more durable as far as sorcerers are concerned, but I think there's even some melee damage stuff. I'd have to go back and look at it.
Okay.
But I remember seeing it and be like, this is a cool way to do like a Goliath sorcerer.
Hell yeah.
And it would make a lot of sense since like they're kind of like surrounded by stone. Maybe the mountain blessed their bloodline or whatever. And so they have these stone sorcerers. So yeah, D&D's fun, man.
Maybe
you
those
make up all this
fleshy,
shit.
like hard fleshy raises that they have in their skin, like get imbued with the magics.
Sure, yeah,
that's
absolutely, absolutely. So that's another thing. If you're looking to break the mold there with the Goliath, I would look at the Stone Sorcerer and also Megamind. So,
and also the Dungeoncast special, Megamind Goliath.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, good job, Will.
Yeah. Anything else, or are we done?
No, I think we'll leave it there. That's a good one.
All right, guys. You guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
The Dungeoncast.